First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
School violence intervention.
Dozens of Norfolk school security officers and assistant principals received a lesson in breaking up fights peacefully today. 10 News Side's Melanie Woodrow was the only TV reporter there for that training. Melanie.
Alveda, the training comes following several incidents involving Norfolk security officers using pepper spray to break up fights. The security officers will still carry pepper spray, but now they have some new verbal tools to intervene. There was a lot of shouting inside Booker T. Washington High School today.
You need to get away from me. I'm calling my mama, my daddy, and everybody else I can call.
Only this fight was part of a role-playing exercise. These verbal threats are just some of what Norfolk school security officers say they deal with almost daily.
You may have days where it just runs smooth as silk. And then you have days where, it's like a roller coaster.
Carlton Salmon has been a school security officer 13 years. In that time, he says the kids he's met have changed. He says they're more verbally aggressive and sometimes involved in gangs.
I call them the puppet masters because a lot of times what kids do, they egg on kids to fight.
The strategies and techniques that we used when I first started teaching are not effective.
Valerie Ford is one of 10 employees who received nonviolent crisis intervention training. Today, she used that training to train dozens of security officers to de-escalate violent situations.
So when you set limits, offer a person choices, state the consequences of the choices in a matter-of-fact way.
Norfolk school security officers receive annual training, but this is the first time in 15 years they've been trained in these methods.
We don't know what some of our children are dealing with at home, and they made it to school. They came to school. We need to care about them and love them, help them.
It's that support that officials hope will reduce school violence. So tonight, new at 6, hear why the school security officers that were at that training today say despite these new techniques, they feel they still need to carry pepper spray. Melanie Woodrow, 10 on your side.
Well, Norfolk schools do plan to track whether or not today's training was successful by tracking the number of incidents going forward and how they're broken up.
A local sailor died during a diving operation off the coast of North Carolina. The sailor's identity has not been released yet, but we do know the person was assigned to Explosive Ordnance Disposal Mobile Unit 12 from Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek Fort Story. Now, the unit was there preparing for a training exercise with a Canadian Navy ship. The Navy is investigating. It was definitely a soggy, or what I like to call yucky morning, but it's turned into a great afternoon.
Yeah, it's been fantastic out there this afternoon. It rained most of the morning, as you probably already saw. Things look a lot different right now, so 10 News Side Chief Meteorologist Don Slater standing by now to tell us what we can expect later.
Well, we can expect a lot more sunshine for the next couple of hours, obviously, as the sun is still up next hour or so. So again, it's cleared on off. The air is drying off. We're going to cool off as well. It's unusually warm. Temperatures are into the upper 60s right now. Now, we take a look at the rainfall being gone, but also the rainfall that we had in this morning. Some of these green streaks right here. These are radar estimates, computer-generated estimates, and they're generally around ½ an inch. Into some of these green streaks, around ½ of an inch into some of the darker blue colors that you're seeing. There's where we are for the Hampton Road cities. You can see a streak running from Suffolk all the way on up into Portsmouth and Norfolk, around ½ an inch. Most rain, though, is across the eastern shore, where we did see around ¾ of an inch to almost an inch there, but that rainfall is gone. It mainly happened between around 8 o'clock and around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and kaboom, the sun came out. We got beautiful weather right now. Temperatures are absolutely gorgeous. They've been into the 60s all day today. Cooled off when we had some of that rain, but not all that much either. It is going to cool down for this weekend. Not so much for tomorrow, but we'll tell you about that with our forecast in just a few minutes.
Now, today, a judge ordered a Norfolk funeral home to close its doors for the next 6 weeks. The State Department of Health ordered the Carlos Howard Funeral Home to close last week after an investigation into a mishandled body. A judge granted him a temporary injunction to finish the business that he was already under contract to do. And Carlos Howard wanted to keep the business open until a hearing in March. But today, a judge denied that extension. The State Board of Funeral Directors and Embalmers said Howard violated a number of state codes when transferring a body to Philadelphia. Now, according to the board, the body was leaking embalming fluid and he sent a personal effects box that actually contained organs and intestines from the body. His next hearing is scheduled for March 8th.
Chesapeake police are now investigating a shooting tonight. Officers were called to Colonial Way around 6 this morning. Until the victim will be okay, but police are still investigating that shooting. Take a good look at this video from inside a Hampton church. Detectives say 2 men somehow got into St. Mark's United Methodist Church on East Mercury Boulevard early yesterday morning. They left with money and electronic devices. If you recognize the suspects and can help police find them, call the crime line.
The Chesapeake Fire Department says the flames that forced 2 people out of their townhouse started in the kitchen. A 10 on Your Side viewer used Report It at WAVY.com to send us this picture from the scene. It was last night along Big Bend Drive in the Western Branch Commons development. It took crews about 15 minutes to bring it under control. Nobody was hurt. The Red Cross is helping the residents.
There were phone problems today at Old Dominion University. The system went down about 11 this morning. ODU students and staff were not able to call out or receive calls on campus phones. They had to use cell phones instead. The problem has been fixed and the system is up and running again.
The Virginia Aquarium and Marine Science Center is asking local fishermen to watch out for whales. The stranding team says it got a call about a humpback whale tangled in fishing lure. Look at that. You can see from the picture right there. That's the injured whale. A hook appears to be embedded in its skin. The Virginia Aquarium says that this kind of injury can be prevented by making sure that you don't leave any fishing gear in the water.
The former commander who produced raunchy videos aboard the USS Enterprise is leaving the Navy. The Navy says that Captain Owen Honors is set to retire April the 1st. Captain Honors was removed from command for producing, airing, and appearing in raunchy videos on the Enterprise between October 2005 and 2007. He was the ship's executive officer at the time. Honors say that the videos were intended to boost morale. A sailor now assigned to the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower is the Atlantic Shore Sailor of the Year. Air Crew Survival Equipmentman First Class Maria Johnson was assigned to Strike Fighter Squadron 106 at NAS Oceana. There she served as the leading petty officer for the squadron's Aviation Equipment Work Center. The award recognizes sailors for their outstanding leadership, knowledge, and performance.
The company that owns the capsized Costa Concordia is now offering passengers $14,640 each in compensation for lost baggage and psychological trauma. Costa Cruises, a unit of Carnival, says that it will also reimburse uninjured passengers the full cost of the cruise, return travel expenses, and medical expenses. Separate agreements will be reached with injured passengers and with the families of those who died. Even though authorities admit there is little hope of finding anyone alive, rescuers blasted another hole into the hull death ship today. The death toll stands at 16, with 16 more missing. Workers are now preparing to pump 500,000 gallons of fuel from the ship before it starts leaking. This process is scheduled to begin tomorrow and is expected to take 2 weeks. New video shows the moment that 3 buildings collapsed in Rio de Janeiro. The video here comes from security cameras across the street. It shows the people, as you can see there, running, and then a huge cloud of dust covered the camera right there. The office buildings that collapsed were 20, 10, and 4 stories high. Witnesses say they heard the buildings cracking and plaster falling before that collapse. At least 7 people died, 15 are missing. And rescuers spent the day digging through rubble looking for survivors there. Authorities suspect illegal construction projects in the largest of those buildings created structural damage, which led to its collapse and in turn brought down the neighboring buildings.
Virginia isn't just for lovers, it's also for hunters, and they're one step closer to being allowed to head into the woods on Sundays. Tonight at 5:30, why some hunters are divided over the state legislation.
And trash troubles. Garbage is piling up in a Portsmouth neighborhood. We'll tell you about another problem a 10 on Your Side viewer says is creating from across the street.
And it happened to them, but a Kentucky couple says it doesn't have to happen to you.
Even though that TV is huge and heavy and you don't think it could ever budge, obviously we're here to tell you it can.
We're on your side with how you can prevent such an accident from happening in your home.
At 10 on Your Side, consumer alert. BJ's Wholesale Club is recalling flashlight and battery sets. The flashlights in these safe-to-go family packs can overheat, smoke, or melt when turned on. They could start a fire or even burn you. If you have one, return it to BJ's for a refund. We posted more information on WAVY.com.
A Kentucky family is on a mission tonight to warn parents of the dangers of not securing furniture and large appliances. A television crushed their 4-year-old son. The boy did survive, but he broke nearly every bone in his face. We do want to warn you, the image in this story is graphic. Katie Bauer has more on how you can safeguard your home.
And as I was walking towards the bedroom, I heard the crash.
It's that split second that will be forever embedded in the Durham's minds.
So we kind of feel like it's our responsibility to kind of spread the word and tell people that these things happen. And even though that TV is huge and heavy and you don't think it could ever budge, obviously we're here to tell you it can.
And it did, to their 4-year-old son Cole, who has autism. For more than a month, the Durhams called Cozaire Children's Hospital home. At times, they wondered if their blue-eyed boy would ever bounce back.
And when we were in the hospital and the surgeon said, you know, we think that his face will look pretty much like it did, I remember looking at my husband and thinking, there's no way his face is going to look the same, but it does. You want presents? What do you want to do with presents? Christmas tree?
The accident happened just days before Christmas, so now that they are back home, Cole is in the process of getting the holiday he missed.
Good job.
And the Durhams made sure certain changes in their home were made.
We have this actual chest of drawers anchored to the wall very well. It's very sturdy, won't move a bit now. This flat screen right here we have anchored to the wall as well, and there's a strap behind here.
It's a miracle that he's living, but it needs to be a further miracle for us to be able to save and create miracles for other kids and families.
Amazing. Another tip from the Consumer Product Safety Commission: remove items like toys and remote controls from the top of the TV and other furniture that may tempt children to climb.
Travel troubles, where travel experts say you'll find the worst airport terminal in the whole world, and why it made the top of the list.
A viewer contacted 10 on Your Side about the illegal dumping in their neighborhood, and apparently all the garbage isn't the only problem. The other problems they're having because of this trash. Trash troubles. Garbage is piling up along the railroad tracks in a Portsmouth neighborhood.
And that's not the only issue. Viewers called 10 on Your Side to come and take a look at this. These are the tracks off Deep Creek Boulevard on the border of Portsmouth and Chesapeake. Neighbors say this has been a problem for years, and some have taken matters into their own hands. 10 on Your Side's Ann McNamara tells us what has pushed them over the edge. And what is it?
Well, Stephanie, the debris is one thing, the bottles, the wrappers, that's another thing, but really it's the pests. They say they come from the debris, they come from that ditch, they crawl across the street right into their house, and they say they have the pictures to prove it, and I want to warn you, some of the images are a little bit graphic. Under all this debris, there's enough food to feed a family of rats.
It just attracts rodents.
Pat Suggs knows because her family lives across the street, and sometimes the rats come to visit.
If you look out late in the afternoon, you can see them. Early morning, you can see them around noontime. In the summer, I can sit on my deck, have my lunch, and I can see them.
Almost every day?
Just about every day.
A 10 on Your Side viewer sent us these pictures of the creatures both living in the debris and caught in a trap inside her house. But the bigger problem is what brings the rodents here.
This is some old furniture or something that somebody has dumped down here. And this was dumped down here. It's been here now for 2 weeks.
Everything from fast food wrappers to full-size furniture dumped illegally along the railroad tracks that separate Portsmouth from Chesapeake.
I don't think that people stop and think that it takes tax dollars to go out and clean up something like this.
In Portsmouth, the fire department enforces the illegal dumping ordinances. Offenders can be charged with a misdemeanor, and the maximum punishment is a year in jail. But aside from catching people in the act, it's hard to punish them. So all of this just sits here, accumulating and aggravating the neighbors.
It's worse than terrible. It really is.
So whose responsibility is it to move all of this? It sounds like it'd be an easy question to answer, but remember, we are on the border of Portsmouth and Chesapeake. The neighbors called us because they felt they were being given the runaround by both of the cities and by the railroad. So tonight at 6:15, 10 on your side, got to the bottom of it. We have an answer, and we also have a promise from someone who says they might be able to help. For now, I'm Ann McNamara, live in Portsmouth.
All right, we're going to get those guys some help out there. Pick up your trash, people. State law outlines illegal dumping, but each city enforces its own ordinances. To see what the rules are in Portsmouth, you can log on to WAVY.com. We posted the entire city code.
Now, in high definition, your Super for 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Rain's obviously all gone. Skies have cleared up very, very nicely, and they're going to remain mostly clear for the weekend. Might see a few clouds tomorrow night, might see a few clouds again coming up on Sunday night as little pops of cool air move on through. Now, we had a pop of cooler air, well, drier air anyway. It hasn't really cooled off. It warmed up once the sun came out throughout the region, and of course that rainfall ended. There's nothing on Super 10 Live right now, but the rainfall that occurred mostly from around 8 o'clock in the morning through around 1 o'clock or a little earlier than that, 12:30 in the afternoon. There were a couple of stray showers left at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we generally had a third of an inch to about half of an inch, a little more across the eastern shore. We'll let it run one more time. You can see again the bulk of the rainfall, heavier rainfall, was across parts of the eastern shore. Is there any more in sight? No, but there are cool fronts out there, successive cool fronts that are going to pop on through the region. One comes tomorrow night and the other one comes Sunday night. It'll really cool off a little bit tomorrow, and then a lot more coming up by Sunday, and even more still for Monday. As far as cloud cover, again, that rainfall is gone. Our skies have cleared off, and again, it's like magic today. Around 12:30, 1 o'clock this afternoon for many of us, skies cleared after a very, very rainy, dreary morning. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, sunshine, light northerly winds. Winds flip around, become more southerly, and that southerly breeze will hold our temperature up basically to around 60 degrees for tomorrow. But then another cool front comes through with a few clouds tomorrow evening. Here's where we are at the midnight hour. Northwest winds become more northerly. That's where we are Sunday morning. Now that's one little shot of cooler air, another shot of cooler air that moves through tomorrow night and will cool things off a bit for Sunday. Here's where we are Sunday noon. Southwest winds again ahead of another cool front, and that'll really cool things off for Monday. Monday will be in the upper 40s for a high temperature. This is kind of fun. The clouds leaving. This is about 3 o'clock this afternoon on up to the present time. And what cloudiness. It's basically all gone. And we looked at the setting sun. It's on the horizon right now. Clear skies throughout the region. And again, temperatures have dropped on down when we had that rain. Here's Newport News. You can see between 10 and noon, 59, but 4 o'clock, 68 degrees. And into Suffolk, 70 degrees once we got rid of the rainfall, and 66 degrees right now, 64 in Newport News. Again, temperatures basically 65 to 68 degrees. Overnight will drop on down into the upper 30s to around the 40-degree mark. And during the day tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Might see a few clouds tomorrow evening. 60, that's not bad. Then it cools off a bit more than that for Sunday, 51. And then around 46, definitely cooler for Monday. Much, much warmer again, though, by Tuesday through the week.
They're warm and comfy, but Uggs are banned at one middle school. We'll tell you why the popular footwear got the boot.
Hundreds of billions of dollars will be slashing from the country's military spending budget over the next several years. Well, tonight, what that means for the Army and just how many soldiers will lose their jobs. There's a boot ban at a Pennsylvania middle school. Kids can't wear Uggs and other open-top boots in the classroom. School officials said that many students are stashing cell phones and other electronic devices, even food in the shoes.
The driving motivation behind addressing the situation of having items in classrooms that are prohibited is clear to maintain a positive educational environment.
The kids can't learn if their cell phones keep going off during the day.
My daughter don't have a lot of shoes. My daughter ain't been raised on a silver spoon, and I can't afford to be buying her a whole bunch of shoes to keep changing every day.
Kids can wear the boots to school, but they must change into other shoes for class. Some of the students say that you can hide cell phones and food and basketball shoes just as easily.
I'm sorry, food in shoes. That's that's gross. Yeah, so is this. One of the terminals at the New York's JFK Airport has the title now of Worst in the World. Frommer's Travel Guides listed JFK's Terminal 3 as the worst because of the lack of food and shopping options, as well as crowded and confusing entry points. LaGuardia, Newark Liberty, and Midway Airport in Chicago are also in the top 10 list of the worst terminals in the world. We posted a link to a slideshow of the worst, so you can check them out right there on WAVY.com.
6 months and counting to the kickoff of the London Olympic Games. Straight ahead, a preview of the places you'll be watching this summer.
And a Virginia fire station destroyed by fire. We'll tell you where it happened at 5:30.
Yes, test check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. What is this?
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. The countdown is now on to the biggest sporting event in the world. Yes, we're now 6 months away from the start of the London Summer Olympic Games. 15,000 athletes from more than 200 countries will compete. The main venues are finished on budget and on time. Among the highlights of the $11 billion project, a sleek velodrome, from cycling events and aquatic center and the main stadium that will hold 80,000 cheering fans. Oscar award-winning director Danny Boyle is choreographing the opening ceremony.
You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to showcase the United Kingdom. Billions of people will be watching that ceremony, and I think it's a very appropriate investment.
And you can catch all the Olympic action beginning with the opening ceremony on July 27th, right here on WAVY TV 10. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.